Hello students, today we will be doing a poem by Pablo Neruda. But before I tell you the title of the poem, let's watch a short video. What do we see in this video? This is a video of a war where people are fighting with each other, hurting themselves, and above all, hurting the earth where we live in. But tell me, what is the use of war? What are its effects? Who wins? Who loses? These are few questions we should ask ourselves. And how do we ask questions to ourselves? Yes, by self introspection. By asking questions to ourselves rather than pointing fingers at others. And this will ultimately create universal brotherhood. However, in the first place, how do we ask questions to ourselves? And it is a very important question. But obvious, the answer is by leaving all that keeps us busy throughout the day. Be it TV, be it mobile phones, be it laptops, be it, you know, chit chatting with others, any other thing. Also, by keeping still, by not doing anything. And finally, by keeping quiet. Yes, and that brings us to the title of the poem, Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. Before moving on with the poem, we'll have a quick introduction about the poet. Pablo Neruda. He was born in 1904 and died in the year 1973. His actual name is Neftali Ricardo Reis Basualto. Pablo Neruda is his pen name, which he uses in his writings. Most of his poems that we see are filled with imageries which make them beautiful. And it was this quality of his and his writings which led him towards winning the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1971. Do you recall how your teachers, parents, and elders always tell you, or if not always, often tell you to count up to 10 whenever you are in a bad mood, or you feel anxious, angry, or impatient? And once you count up to 10, you cool down and your anger, anxiety, and impatientness subsides. Similarly, the poet in the very first line of the poem tells all his readers to leave all the work that they are doing and to keep still and count up to 12. Now, he does not mention 12 what. What does 12 signify? He has left it to the readers whether we as readers want to count up to 12 seconds or 12 hours, 12 days, or 12 months. However, it is important to note that the number 12 implies peace. So, the poet wants us to stand still and keep quiet until there is peace all around the world. We human beings discriminate on the basis of petty things such as caste, color, creed, country, language, and wage war against each other on these petty matters. But the poet tells all the people on this earth to leave all such barriers behind and speak only one language, that is, the language of silence, and do only one thing, that is, nothing. This will create an exotic moment where the world will be united as one. For once, the poet tells us to stop being so busy, to stop the rush, to stop and think for others and for ourselves. He also gives the examples of the fishermen catching and hurting whales. They should stop hurting another living being. And this they can do by keeping quiet and keeping still. Also, the salt gatherers should stop hurting themselves by continuously working. They will get time by keeping quiet and keeping still to look at their hurt hands. Thus, keeping quiet is the solution to repair the earth and its living beings as a whole. The poet further talks about three types of war: the green war, that is, the war with the environment, where we are destroying the mother nature; the gas war, that is, the war with nuclear and atom bombs; and the fire war, the war with cannon, rifles, bullets, and so on. All these wars are a perfect example of victory with no survivors. Instead, the poet tells us to extend our hands of friendship towards each other and wear clean clothes without the spot of blood in it, and walk around freely with our brothers, enjoying the shade, comfort, and security, doing nothing. The poet, however, clarifies that keeping still and keeping quiet is a part of our life where we should introspect ourselves and understand others. However, it should not be confused with inactivity, because when a person is inactive, the person has embraced death. Keeping quiet is like taking a short break from our hectic schedule, which gives us time to spend with ourselves. It not only helps us understand others, but it also helps us to understand ourselves. To understand why are we sad, to understand what makes us upset. Sometimes what happens when we fail to understand and we don't give ourselves time, we tend to threaten ourselves by ending our lives or with death. Hence, in today's hectic world, in today's busy world, it is very important to understand ourselves, our needs, and therefore it is important to keep quiet, to keep still, and give time to ourselves. Finally, towards the ending of the poem, the poet points out to the greatest teacher of ours, that is, the Mother Earth. The poet tells us to learn from it, to observe the nature. We should take time, we should take break in our lives so that we grow from within, mentally, spiritually, and ultimately physically, which will make us very, very strong. And this same thing we should learn from our Mother Nature. During the month of, August, September, October, that is the fall season, the autumn season, and during the months of November, December, January, which is the winter season, when we look at the nature, it seems as if the nature is dying. That is during the autumn. And during winter, it seems as if it has died. But beneath that quietness, beneath that stillness, underground there is seed which is germinating, which will ultimately grow and flourish into a luscious green tree. And hence, in the entire earth, during the autumn and the winter, nature seems to take a break, and during the spring season, it comes out lusciously green and strong, showing life beneath stillness and quietness. Similarly, for us human beings, it is very important to think, to stay still, to stay quiet, so that we become mentally, emotionally, physically strong, and we will be able to fight the world. And this is all achieved by keeping quiet.